Unicorns and glitter and taxidermy critters are just some of the things they like. They also enjoy 80s hair bands, Grizzly Adams and John Goodman, so if you think that's weird then you can take a hike. But the things they enjoy the most are making art and cracking jokes, so without further ado, here are your hosts. You've got your two artsy gals, your two artsy gals. Here are your two artsy gals.
Hey everybody, this is Katie.
And this is Sharon.
And you are listening to the Two Artsy Gals podcast. I don't know what the hell I just started to say, but it wasn't artsy. Oh my god, it's the Two Artsy Gals podcast. Yay!
Woo!
So this week we are going to be talking about artist trading cards, or as they're often abbreviated, you'll see ATCs.
I love it.
I do too. And just in case you don't know what they are, because there are actually a few people that I only learned about them 2 or 3 years ago. The whole idea is they're trading cards. They're trading card size. So they're like the size of a regular like baseball card or garbage pail kids cards, if you will, because that's the only thing I've ever collected in my life. So yeah, they're like just regular trading card size of any kind. Of the only stipulation is that they have to be that size.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that they'll fit inside of any kind of, you know, if you have a booklet or whatever that you put your my brother had special books for his baseball cards, and they make sleeves for cards like that. So they need to fit into those sleeves. And then you trade them with other artists.
Yeah.
And that's it. Some people sell them, and I've actually been kind of on the periphery of that debate. I'm not involved in it, but have witnessed in art groups people kind of talk about that, because there are some artists, I think, who feel very, very strongly that you shouldn't sell them, that they should be for trade only.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some artists that are like, fuck you, I'm going to sell them if I want to sell them. Why shouldn't I be able to make money from them? So, so you were probably run into one or the other. But
yeah, interesting debate.
Yeah, it really is. And I mentioned before we started, I kind of don't want to get into the history of artist trading cards too much, because as is the case with a lot of different things in the art world, there's also pretty much, or a pretty big debate over how it started, why it started, when it started, who started it. And I don't want to get tangled up in that. Like, I don't want to spend a half an hour explaining, well, it could have been this person, it could have been that person. And I don't want to say one person and then have us get hit by a barrage of, no, it was this person. So fuck that. We're just talking about them because they're awesome.
That's right.
So, Sharon, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience with artist trading cards? Like ones that you've made, or how you learned about them, or...
I can't even remember how I learned about them. I feel like I saw them at Art Media and I was like, ooh, I love that size. So I just started playing around with them and
like, are you talking about the little blanks, like the little watercolor paper blanks that they sell? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think I was like, ooh, really intrigued by that. So I started playing around with those and just kind of having fun with them, and then kind of started doing a little research and looking at people's other, at their trading cards, and, I just love that size.
It is a really neat size, and it's a really fun to work on that scale, because you can finish something so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even something pretty ornate, it's a fucking baseball card size. It's little, so you can just be done with it. I mean, I think that I learned about them just from belonging different art groups. That's kind of where I started branching out with my art, is when I started getting involved with different art groups on the internet. Before I was really on Facebook, I belonged to a couple of Ning sites where we did trades around robins, and now I'm primarily involved through Facebook. I belong to a few different art groups, and I think that's where I learned about artist trading cards. And over the years, I've collected, we do swaps. Some groups hold artist trading card trades. So it would be kind of like a 1-for-1 swap. Everybody mails theirs in, and then you get back however many you send. Or 1-to-1 trades, but they're really neat. And I actually use them when I make them I haven't done a trade in a really long time, but I've been using them when I sell my journals or my other handmade goods. I carved a cool little skull stamp that is a skull, but the teeth spell out "thank you."
Mm-hmm.
That's just the size of the ATCs. So, and I stamp
awesome.
them on there, and I might watercolor the background or color the background in with pen, like marker, or, you know, I might make a collage background and then stamp over that with the embossing stuff and do it that way. But I always send those out as little thank yous when people have bought things for me, especially when I'm trying to raise money for something and I use those as incentive.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great idea because it's something quick and people like them, and it's just a little piece of artwork they can hang up.
Yeah, and it's a little special because I like it. You know, you like getting a little something special when you spend money.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I also use them with my artist friends. Sometimes I just send them to people for their birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So
nice.
I have a couple of little ones that I made. I really love doing those with stamp carving.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite ways to do artist trading cards is doing the stamp.
Because you can make a ton of, just a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, and it's it's almost a perfect size for a stamp.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like it's a good size. You have a good working area to carve. That's how I started practicing stamp carving on my own, was doing that. So
that size, that's cool.
So
that's
yeah,
super
but
awesome.
You know, as I said, as far as the rules go for artist trading cards, there really aren't many other than it has to be that size.
Mm-hmm.
You can do mixed media. You can do little paintings. You can do little collages. Like I said, you can stamp. Some artists I know actually do. I've seen digital art.
Oh, cool.
Where they do the digital art and have them printed because they're digital artists.
Mm-hmm.
Or some people do collages or whatever and then scan them into their computer and have them printed as almost business cards. They hand them out to people like that.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
So it's
they're so fun.
Yeah, and really you can't screw it up. You can't break the rules unless you make it not the proper size.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, did you have any artists that you specifically like their trading card work, or?
No, the one that you were going to share, I'm just in love with. These are great.
Yeah, my friend.
You want to talk about yours?
Yeah, my friend Cindy Cooling actually told me that I could use her work as an example for this because I wanted to change it up a little bit. I do have some examples of my work that I'll show, but she does just some really amazing artist trading cards, and I will link her portfolio, and I'll use a couple of images maybe as examples on the blog too. But she, on her portfolio or her website, she has in the portfolio sections, a couple of different sets of examples, and she did one artist trading cards set of, I think it's pronounced Loteria Tribute Series, which is a Spanish lottery, and she actually explains what it is. Like I think it's really pretty steeped in like Mexican history, so she's really into that. She's really into Day of the Dead stuff also, but she does this whole set of cards that are her drawings.
Oh yeah, they're awesome,
and the colors are just freaking mind-blowing. I love the color that she uses.
Yeah, she really vibrant with the black like outline.
Mm-hmm. You know, and then you look on the flip side of it, equally as awesome, she also has a page of her mixed media art, which is anything from like little collage that she has drawn on top of, or she puts buttons and it looks like some washers and stuff on one, and beads. Like, I think that the spectrum in which she does her artist trading card work is actually a really good example of how versatile you can be with this.
Yeah, totally. Hers is a great example because, like, they both look really different, but yeah.
They're both awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Yeah, her stuff is really incredible. I am, like, loving it.
And also, if you're listening to this and you want to see more examples, because like I said, I will definitely link Cindy's site and put some examples up of her work. But if you go to Pinterest and type in artist trading cards,
oh yeah, you find some really incredible stuff.
Yeah, you're going to just be absolutely flooded with things to look at. It's pretty, and just type it into the internet.
Yeah.
You know, you'll see a ton of examples. The examples that I show, I'll probably post on our site. I'll probably definitely show the one that I use as my thank you for people when they make purchases, and I'll show the birthday one that I use and some others that I've done. But I don't really know how many I have on hand, because the unfortunate thing about artist trading cards is I give them away for trades. I don't really tend to keep my own. And I don't have permission to post that's one thing that we're really trying to be careful about here at Two Artsy Gals, and just in general, is I don't post images of other people's work without their permission. So
right. Yeah.
I don't want to post pictures of, even though I have some friggin' awesome ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. You got to respect that.
But, that's one thing that I always kind of get bummed about is, like, I have all of these awesome artist trading cards that people have given me in swap or just as gifts or, whatever, from mail art friends or whatever. And I keep them in a pretty little box, but I never really get to look at them. Like, I don't want to put them on the wall with a thumbtack. I don't want to tape them. You don't want to damage the card.
Yeah, maybe you need to make some sort of, like, collage or shadow box with them to frame a bunch of them together.
Well, I was going to tell you about Cindy, my friend, who her husband got her, I don't know if it was for her Christmas or birthday one year, but you can buy their, I had no idea that this even freaking existed. They are baseball card displays, and they're big, framed. They have, like, little cubbies for each baseball card and a glass door.
Oh, cool.
That goes over it. Like, so they're displayed with honor. The ones that she has on her wall are black, painted black, and it is so cool. I went to see her a couple of years ago, or 2 springs ago. I went down to spend some time with her where she lives in California, and that's the first thing you see when you walk into her house. And her entryway are these 2 big framed card displays, and they are fucking cool.
That's awesome.
Like, and she emailed me pictures of them, and I have misplaced the email, but I'm gonna see if she can resend them to me before this episode goes to air, because they're just incredible.
Wow.
They
that
really
sounds
are
amazing.
Well, and then I started thinking, like, even if I don't know how much those cost, but I suppose if you go on, like, baseball card collector websites, or even look on Amazon or something like that, or go to your local baseball card shop, they would probably carry displays like that or be able to tell you where to get them. What I like about it is you can change them out. And it's like this constant revolving display of little bits of other people's artwork on your wall, and it is just fucking cool like that.
That's awesome.
It makes me, like, when I saw them, I really wanted to get into doing artist trading cards more.
Oh, I bet.
Like, I was like, oh my god, now I have to have these on my wall. Like, I'm gonna have to, like, start hosting swaps so I can collect more. So, but then I started thinking there's gotta be, like, other ways you can do that. Like, I even have this really cool, one of those old wooden crates from Coca-Cola bottles that used to go with the little cubbies. Like, any shelving like that, you could figure out a way to display your artist trading cards in.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, there are a lot of cool things that you can do to display them. Because, again, as I mentioned before, I always kind of thought that they were cool, but then I was like, well, what do I do with them? Like,
yeah.
Like, I suppose you can have them in a little flip-foldy book, too, where you can take them out and look at them, too, and stuff like that. But I always feel like I should honor the work more than just putting it away in a book.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Because some of the artist trading cards, like I said, go on Pinterest. Like, just type in artist trading cards on Pinterest, because holy crap, you'll get inspired. You'll get a lot of ideas. Now, you said that you've made them in the past. You've done. Have you been involved in trades, or have you just made them?
I was going to, but then I just never found anybody, so I just maybe traded one time, or sent some, or as in a contest or something. But yeah, I never got quite that far, but I had a lot of fun making them. Yeah,
they're really neat. I haven't done a trade in a while, but there's, in the art group that we belong to, people are talking about. I actually brought this episode up a couple weeks ago, and they're like, hey, we haven't done one of those trades in a long time, so Hopefully. Hopefully. We'll get to do another one. But I think this doing research for this episode and putting this episode together has kind of rekindled my interest in it again. Just because you kind of forget about them sometimes when you're busy with other stuff. But they are so freaking neat that I really would like to start doing more of them.
For sure. Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
And maybe, in the future, I think we asked for some user involvement or some listener involvement in this episode to have maybe people send examples of their artist trading cards. And we did get an example of and I apologize that it's been so long ago I can't remember the artist's name, that sent us a picture of her actual work, but it wasn't of an artist trading card. So I had specifically asked for artist trading cards, and it just didn't end up working out. So I don't really know if it's because our show is maybe people that don't, like, I kind of don't know who our listener base is. Are they people who want to learn about art stuff, but maybe aren't doing that art stuff? Or are they people who do? Or is it a combination of both? But in the future, I think it would be really fun to maybe do more interactive stuff with our listeners. And I would definitely like some feedback on how to make that a reality. Because I was I'm not going to lie, I was kind of bummed when we didn't really get any examples sent to us.
Yeah.
So, and again, I understand some people don't want their work used in situations like this. So, yeah, I get it. I wish that I had more examples to show you, but all I can say is definitely go research these, because they're such a fun way to interact with other artists too, I think. And especially in situations where, most artists don't make a lot of money.
Right.
And although you want to be able to support your artist friends or promote their work, or just, you want to be proud of them and display or you like their work and you want a piece of their work, but
totally,
you can't fucking afford it. It's a really neat way to have a little piece of work that someone that you really admire did, or to give someone that from you.
Totally. That's what I used to always do with ceramic artists. I would buy their mugs because that would be the only thing that I could afford.
Yeah, and then you just have a collection of their awesome mugs.
Yes.
That's really cool, though. That's a neat thing. Yeah. And I guess, I never really thought of it this way, but going back to the beginning of the show, I mentioned that there's definitely two camps of, well, I won't say two camps, because there are people like me in the middle. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. But there are definitely people who feel like you should never, ever sell artist trading cards. And they're pretty jerky about their opinions. And then there are people who feel like you should be able to sell them. And they're pretty defensive about doing that. But now that, we talk about the price of art, because art's not cheap and we know it, but artists need to make money too. It's in a way, I think maybe for people who don't quite have as much money to spend on that big piece of artwork that they would want to purchase, to be able to have something smaller scale from an artist that they really admire or they really like. So I kind of feel like even if you're not an artist, I guess that kind of tips me a little bit towards people being able to, I mean, of course, there's no rule or law that says they can't sell them, but,
right.
It makes sense to me to sell them.
Yeah,
because
I totally agree.
I think that it is putting your work out there for people who might not be able to afford a larger piece.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
As a matter of fact, that might be something that, you could pretty easily do just if you were trying to go to a show or a fair, or you just want to add something to your website really quick. That might be a good way to go about it. Yeah,
totally. Or a way to, raise funds or, for sure.
So I actually texted a friend in the middle of this podcast recording because I wanted to see, because I could have sworn I remember this, but there's a bar in Northeast Portland that has a art vending machine.
That is so
they
awesome.
do, the arts the arts on the Facebooks, they're all little pieces of art that are the size of cigarette packages. Because it's an old cigarette machine that they've repurposed to do that. So that might be a little bit bigger than baseball cards. Probably not too much. I haven't smoked in 2 years, so it's been a long time since I've had a pack of cigarettes around the house. I think that's probably pretty close to baseball card size, don't you?
Yeah,
maybe
I think
a little bit larger. But so you can get, she says there's an art vending machine. some paintings on wood, other things in boxes, some necklaces, some ATCs for maybe like $5 or so.
Oh, cool.
So, and I just thought that was the coolest freaking thing. And I'll put a link to that website. It's at the Radio Room in Northeast Portland. And the machine, they called it the Art-O-Matic.
That's awesome.
So I will definitely put a link up to their site on our blog so that you guys, any Portlanders, can go there, or if you're coming from out of town and you want to visit the Radio Room, it would be really cool to go over there and check out their Art-O-Matic machine. The first time I went there, I thought it was the coolest damn thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, that's rad.
So, and they actually, the Radio Room does a lot of art stuff.
That is so cool.
But anyway, I think we're about ready to wrap it up. Do you have anything else you want to say about the awesome...
I don't think so. I don't think...
Your husband just made a face behind your head as he walked by. I'm sorry. It just totally cracked me up.
That's funny.
He was hamming it up. So.
Yeah. Ham.
So, I did actually just get the friend that, a friend of mine just texted me a few minutes ago and said, "Oh shit, is it too late to send you artist trading card pictures?"
Oh,
so she's going to send me some that I will post on the blog, so we'll have more examples, and I'll link to her work too for you guys. So
great. That's awesome.
Yeah. Artist trading cards, you should totally try making some.
Yeah, they're really fun.
And trading some and research them, even if you just want to look at some really cool stuff. Research them a little bit on the internet and you can see some pretty neat stuff. Artist trading cards. Check them out. And we have no listener mail again this week. So listeners, start getting us some fucking mail again. Seriously. I know you're out there. I can tell. I get my weekly report from Podomatic that tells me how many people have downloaded the show. So look, there are about 80 to 100 of you on a given week that are not fucking emailing us. So. Oh my god, that's hilarious. That's that.
That's that.
It's hot. I'm totally losing my steam.
Until next time.
Yeah, oh yeah, that. Our sign off. Until next time, you say it this time.
Make some cool shit, yo.
Oh my god, I wish you guys could see Sharon's make some cool shit, yo dance. That was fucking awesome.
It was my sing-off instead of my sign-off.
Oh my god, your sing-off. Make some cool shit, yo. Bye.
Bye.